This is Siren Buddha Medicine, Regina's Rabbit Hole. Much love to you and yours. We're just talking about the reasons behind why I like to do these fresh and make them the vibrational frequency happen right when the conversation happened.
So we was talking about confrontational fear, and really fear in many different levels, just like love and other things. That for me, I would not agree on. I think that's different from biblical or your own beliefs than than actually the worldly views. So confrontational fear, I think everybody deals with. That's a subconscious view, like when someone speaks on something that strengthens them or they give help to, but not really addressing a more perhaps more needed issue. Um, it would seem like that, and I think a lot of that behavior comes from a narcissistic approach.
Well, one thing that I see about fear and how it's on a mass level is the um, people just following trendy. It's trendy, you know. People want to be afraid of what Trump's doing. People want to be afraid of what this one's doing or what that one's doing. But it's sidetracking us from coming up with solutions. Um, the fear is an indoctrination. It's mass produced, So there's more fear of stepping out of the line and having your own opinions and ideas and doing your own thing than there is of anything, because people are just, you've been taught from the time you were a child to just get along, right? To look
Hmm.
like everybody else and fit in so you can eat. They dressed us in the morning. I remember like days like this, or even winter days when you had to get up early and eat your food and wash your face, brush your teeth, and you were little. You were like what, 5, maybe 4, and you're going to daycare or you're going to first grade or something.
They ain't had no daycare when we was coming up in the '70s. You didn't have none either. You know what your daycare was? Because about 4 or 5, not about 6 or 7. I can remember my mom saying, "Don't you open that door for nobody," and she would go to work and give us a little bit. We felt really independent, so we made sure that we didn't do anything outside, and no one never came to the door. But when you went out, if you went outside, the block would know. My mother would come when she come from work. She would stop and talk to the neighbors. And that particular form was not a project form. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
See, that right there is that fear that we talked about, that confrontational fear. I believe we're taught that from birth. If we really look at it, we only dig into certain sectors, and then we don't want to deal with no truth. If we bring truth to us as a nation of people, we seem to don't want to deal with that. We will navigate somewhere else, and we will definitely direct. We will redirect to something else.
Can you specify? Because I think I hear you saying different things.
Yeah, confrontational fear is anything that you only you know what you don't want to tackle. And when I look at us as a people, we see that don't want to attack truth more than we would like to deal with non-fiction. Fictional characters, so to speak. So confrontational fear is something that is really unknown to you, and if it's brought to your attention, you would redirect the conversation. Like if we say, well, this should be like, well, yeah. One thing I always talk about is sexual misconduct, and if you get on YouTube and talk about that, it shuts down. It's my body, it's my mind, it's my off, it's my muscle. It's not like that. We're not supposed to
So you're
entice.
saying there's a fear of confronting that particular issue,
Oh, most definitely.
and
Sexual
you're saying
misconduct.
that it's cultural.
I really don't deal in the arenas of anybody else because we're so we give other people like so much credit, and then we really devour one another without looking at the whole matter. So
So how do you feel like that sexual indoctrination that we have as a culture and the way you feel about it tied into your mother leaving you and the independence you felt as a child during that age, because I was talking about, I may have had the age off, but first grade and entering into school and the indoctrination where that's the first person outside of your home telling you what to do. Wash your hands. The same thing your mom just told you to do. You know what I'm saying? Put on your coat because you got to do that to go home. So the teacher is instructing you to do the things that you just did and you were only taught to do from your mother. Right. For a period of time.
The confrontational fear of a man in a community going to a single mother house without looking at her with any kind of misconduct, but going to deal with the situation at hand. She might look like she's a beautiful star, but you went over there because, like, okay, I had an assignment, just hypothetically speaking, right? And I go over there and she has a son. He needs help. I go over there and see her and say, ooh, wee. I immediately forget about it because I'm captured by what her beauty, or not even beautiful, just something you just vibe. And you deal with the son. She's single now. Before you can do it, you forget about what is the mission, and you start dealing with other things that is misconduct and what is fulfilling the mission. So when I deal with
that's lust and coveting. If it's somebody else's wife,
But what I said single mother. That means she has no one. She has a problem child. You're a professional. You go over there, or not. It's a spiritual healer. Anybody, any clergy, anything.
It's still lust.
I understand that. What I'm talking about, we're playing, like you said, semantic words. I'm talking about one particular issue.
But we're talking about a cultural framework, right?
We're talking about us.
Right.
Yes.
And you also said that it's about not being able to confront ourselves, right?
Not right. A situation like I said, sexual misconduct. Then you said lust. I said okay, but we're talking about when we do that.
That's
it's semantic
still,
words.
Right. It's a form of lust.
It is lust. All of it's lust. Eating is lust. The 7
So we're in agreement,
yes.
Not in disagreement.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right. All of us is lust to eat anything that you long
That's
for.
Gluttony, and so is the sex, right? It's all a form
all
of...
of us lust. Lust is under one. It's an umbrella of many different sins.
Well, you know what? Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's a biblical thing. It's biblical, so I think you pull out for biblical and not really getting the full understanding.
See, you know what? It's funny, right? Because I've been looking at these deadly sins and stuff. Talk about confronting things. Lust, you see with your eyes. Gluttony, you've taken in. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but before
there's
the gluttony
different
comes,
levels.
but before
you lust.
It's all from the mind, though, to make the action. It's like the
that's
social
what I'm
study of
that's the connection that I'm making. That first we look at it and we lust after it. Like you are what you eat and what we consume. So we first look at it and desire it, right?
Right.
And then the gluttony is once you get your hands on it, you can't get enough.
You're right. In James, the first chapter in James, it talks about that. It was talking about sin, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it says sin when it's conceived, and then when it's conceived and it's full grown, then it gives birth. So the thought, and so
gives
biblically,
birth.
right? So biblically in walking, when you get it, you're supposed to go into the Word, repent, ask for forgiveness, and go for the Word. Then the Word cleanses it out. So
perfect. 1 second. That's the fruits of the Spirit, being able to rebuke or counteract the spirit that we was talking about.
The fruits of the Spirit is love, peace, kindness, longevity.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. So what I'm talking about is spiritual energies, and you're talking about the biblical reference, right? Check this. It's alchemy. It's a science. On one hand, you have the negative frequency, the lust or the desire or the evil, right?
Right.
For lack of better words.
Right.
Then you have the fruit of the Spirit. And what happens is, if you fill yourself up with the fruits of the Spirit, and they're strong enough, they could actually push out the counter. But you have to be exposed to it, and actually allow ourselves to be in that frequency. That's why certain frequencies and tones and vibrations actually work, because they have the tones of happiness or to empty out negativity from your body. They introduce certain frequencies into the environment that artificial, to artificially push out the other spiritual energies.
Right, but I think when you start chiming in on things, you opening up doors.
It's
And
medicine because we open up those doors with lust. Yes, you're right.
you have to be in order when doing those.
Yeah, it's learning. It's a tech. You have to. That's why I said the lust comes first. I'm studying diligently what our ancestors in the spirit brings to me. Lining up with biblical references and stuff. But back to what you were saying about,
Confrontational fear.
yeah, and basically you were
It's
talking about the sexuality.
it's one of the biggest things I think in our community with so many unwed lot women, and it's been programmed to it's my body. No, it's actually, if you want to get touched, the creative body. It's nature body, and we are put here to care. If we don't care about the earth, we're not going to care about our bodies because we are the earth. We're particles of that. We know we go into the ground. We know ash, dust, all that stuff. We know that. But I think more or less anything else, how can you move something before you start? Like when I hear sometimes about your muscular structures of the cells. Okay, so now you know how do you strengthen the cells? Different stuff you put into the body, blah blah. How long you go and you start manipulating, and then you start lying and get caught in the lies. Then see, once you falsify something to the public, you really got to be real deep in your presentation. And so that's why I say jungle brothers, jungle sisters. Then when I see, it's confrontational fear that, for me, in my perspective and what I see, like we don't want to deal with the realness of what's really going on. Everybody has their own pain within our community. We all have one thing in common, and that we definitely are oppressed mentally now because we can't seem to get ahead. If we were able to come up under, some laws within ourselves and in our community, we'd be very, very well off because other nations will not support us on an economic level unless it's for like a nonprofit organization or something like that, where it's been approved by a faith-based perspective for the most. But the confrontation fear, that if you go into a certain arena, you're going to get shut down. So you have to learn how to play the kumbaya, to get along. And you have to be well trained in that, But when people are on, I say dumb face and stupid too for me, But it's actually where you connect with old people. For instance,
You, I'm.
yours.
How does the kumbaya equate with the sexual misconduct and getting together? You're in
Confrontation fear.
different places.
Well, our whole conversation been in a different place because it's so broad. However, to get back to the
I'm
point,
just asking you to specify, like tighten up where you are with that part.
Well, when I say kumbaya, most of the time that we talk, we don't really look at us because we really don't like to take a real deep look at ourselves of what's going on.
Well, I get that part about the sexual misconduct within our culture, right?
We can't
and
move from there.
Trying to tie in the part where you're talking about economics and the way we look to other cultures because we don't have our stuff together. So
Yes.
are you saying that because of our sexual misconduct, other nations look at us like we're ridiculous?
Yeah, look at us like almost on an animal tone, like we're not equal to, we're less than because we never clarified. We never clarified. If you look in the Constitution, it clearly tells us that we were brought over here like cattle. We never clarified that. If we're looking at the 13th Amendment and such.
We never resolved it.
I mean, and we still walk around like, so when we look at the masses of Europeans on the earth, they do not look at us as equal.
Can I say something in regards to that?
Right.
As far as the subliminals and the energy, okay? Energy never dies, it only transforms. And so we're walking around in this energy. It's like somebody talking about you behind your back.
Right.
Saying dirty, and you could feel it,
Right.
but you don't see them. Then you see them, but they say it's not them, that they wasn't doing it. Because you see it all over the TV. You know what I'm saying? How we used to have to laugh in the barrel.
Yeah.
You see it over TV, how they have...
I don't want to forget
Wait,
the thought.
I'm losing...
Okay, I'm sorry. The barrel, you're laughing at the barrel.
I lost my point of reference.
Oh, so sorry.
Well, what I was trying to say. But,
No, what you were saying, like they don't see we laughing about and
the 3/4, right? Okay. the energy and the frequency. Okay?
But doesn't
So
everything
that
got that?
let me make this point. All right. Right. Everything has that, but we're talking about us feeling less than or disenfranchised, and we're talking about this elephant in the room.
Okay.
Okay? This 3/4 human.
Three-fifths.
Okay. 3/5 human according to the Declaration of Independence, and they put the amendment on there, right?
Right.
So we never dealt with the elephant in the room.
Right.
That they're saying it's not us, we didn't do it, but yet we still got the elephant in the room.
Wow.
And the elephant is
Who
real.
signed it? Yeah.
We had the forefathers, right? The Declaration of Independence. We had the Boston Tea Party and all that stuff in our his story that they tell us in school. So within that, we find out later that we weren't really included as 100% man in all of that. And so here to this day, we're still walking around with a lot of premanistic behavior. And what I'm saying is that,
Premonition. Okay.
right, what I'm saying is that energy that's been put there, right? Just like calling people mongoloids and stuff like that in Rockers Island when they were shifting people out, you know what I'm saying? Deciding on who could be citizens and who couldn't.
Right.
And they were saying that people were retarded because of the way they looked or the culture they came from. That kind of energy it's still running through us, like a vein, like an energy vein, like a live wire that you don't want to bump into.
Well, with this the fear factor.
That's the part that hasn't been addressed.
Confrontational fear is if we really started getting real about what was going on, it would shut down and it would put a label on it and call it some kind of extreme movement. Now, yeah.
That's why I want to equate this energy. It's very important because, like you said, we haven't really addressed it. That's the connections that I've been making with words and energy and intentions. The confines of someone's heart coming across within the atmosphere that we're in, the schools, the places we live, and the things that we've been ingesting by way of the media. You know what I'm saying? All the medias and stuff tainted with this idea that we are less than, right? So they're projecting something that's in themselves onto us with the less than human. And then you have the zodiac part, right? Where as above, so below. It's vibrating on those animal signs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So all that energy is still there, but we're not addressing it. And it goes into how we treat each other with the male and female relationships and interactions. That energy is still there. When our mother bundled us up and brought us to school in the morning, that teacher and you, we both shared that energy. But nobody talked about it. You had your interpretation of who you were or who they thought you were by the medias that you encountered and the sounds and frequencies in the atmosphere, and they had their own.
The one you said their own is the one who makes the system for the betterment of their people overall. Their people definitely gets the same injustice, make no mistake about that. However, it's not going to be in the volume of how we have it. They're not going to just take their people and shoot them down and such. We don't address them issues, nor do we talk about them issues, yet it happens. And sometimes some people have the nerve that says, oh, well, another one. But when, so it's not even, I think other nations, people don't even phantom that thought about my kid can walk and the police come off and shoot him down. There has to be some serious mind loss to even move farther than talking about the mass destruction of the body and people dropping. Every year, some unjustly things happen from the beginning. And so, Aunt Jemima, mindsets are still prevalent. It still exists on a modernized term. And so then you lose people by putting all these different theories. Nothing's proven but just speculations. The only thing that can be proven, and nobody don't like it, is in that Holy Bible. It shows a nation of people fits this descriptions and things that are happening to them as we speak. And then they try to throw it off and say the 12 zodiac signs. And if you're basing the 12 zodiac signs First of all, on the 12 calendar year, this 12 calendar don't even exist. There's not
What
even 12 months.
right,
So
would have that to be concerned about as far as the calendar change and stuff. But what I'm referring to is the energy that emulates from that sector of the month of that time of the year that comes down from those light rays, those light wave frequencies. Like certain fruits and vegetables are seasonal.
yeah.
There's certain lights and frequencies that come down and shine on certain areas of the earth during certain times of the year, and we benefit from that light. It doesn't just disappear. We're affected by it. Like low light in the wintertime and high light in the summertime. You happier in the summertime because the sun is shining, and you may feel a little bit lower on energy side in the winter because of the effect of low sun
Well,
or
the
colder
great
weather.
thing about the human being is you adapt. You adapt to your surroundings. There's not.
But the point made that energy is affecting us, yes.
Yes, I think that affects this as well as it affects, like you said, so below, so high, whatever.
So that energy
So,
comes down, and in the same way that energy I just described is there, we have higher frequencies and lower frequencies within one body. You have higher frequencies and lower frequencies, like a musical instrument,
it's like
like a
a player.
staff, right? Like a sheet of
It's
music.
life, though. When you say
Exactly.
right,
And
so
so
there
what they're
you,
doing with the media and the images and their indoctrination is tying everything into the lower end of the spectrum, the animalistic or priministic part of self.
but you can make
And
somebody that way.
even, yes, that's what I'm saying. And they're even tying it in with that law talking about 3/5. You see what I'm saying?
But that's something.
That's subliminal, and it's tying it all together. It's triangulating in on an idea that we have indoctrinated ourselves to. And so we act it out in our primitive way sexually, because the whole thing is built on sexual currency and kundalini energy. And when you don't know, you get played.
It's on sexual energy, but what about one of the greatest things? Lying, stealing, manipulating. I mean, it all comes into the sea.
And even when you do know,
And
you
you
get
say that
played if
energy.
you don't check that energy. Right?
And we can't say put her ass out there. It's already afraid to white spots. And now you put the white, the Asian.
Well, first of all, a woman's behind is her own, and I don't know where men got the impression
I don't
that
even think about
they
men.
should own women. I look at this as weird, right? So I see men
It's
saying
a man's world, baby.
that's no. Okay, we got to talk about this for a second.
It's a man's world. I'm not knocking anything. I'm just saying.
Me. You say it's a man's world,
Yeah.
and then you can add on it's a white man's world. That depends on
Absolutely.
perspective.
Absolutely. It is his world right
let
now.
me speak. So the men are saying, I want equality. I want the white man to treat me. You know what I'm saying? The way he treats himself. I want equal opportunity, right? I want a chance to get put on, right? I want opportunity. I want to feel like the man that I am. I want to feel like the man that the same way that you feel like a man, white man, I want to feel like a man, right?
No, that's not how Israel feels. Not like that. Israel don't feel that way. The Egyptian ethologists and those conspiracy theorists, because that's what you are, and you're on record, you are conspiracy theorists. Why? Because you theorize and you jump all over. Biblically, Israel knows
I'm
one
not a
way.
conspiracy
Let me finish,
theorist.
please. Let me finish. I'm saying
I'm not a conspiracy
okay,
theorist.
so let's
Wait
get
a second. Everything that I've shared is documented and already present within our society.
It's documented.
Now go ahead.
Right, so let me say what a conspiracy theorist is. It's a person that has not proven anything, but theorized, not have proven anything what matters on this earth.
Excuse me.
Let
It
me-
is, but can you stick with what you were
Right,
saying?
so I'm giving a definition of a conspiracy theorist.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
All
I
right,
know
so
what
what
one
I'm saying is, what I'm saying to you, for me, what I'm saying, what I believe in, so that the audience can know, with no disrespect, how every nation, like some people believe in Islam, respect that. That's what you believe in. That's what it is. But what is the proven fact? So, for me, what keeps it real for me to understand who I am on this earth now and what I see is that I'll be put in the hand of my enemies, right? And one of all things, right? But when you talk about what you believe in, it's okay. But when a conspiracy theorists come on and they say, well, I learned this today, and notice they'll come with about 10 a year, they'll come with about 10 different doctrines, but in the Bible can say with one different
All
thing.
you got to do is stick with what you know and what you
And that's
believe.
what I'm doing, though. But when I'm able to say, well, this is how I feel, like when you speak, right, you say,
You cut me
energy.
off.
Well, if we could play the back, and you dominate the whole conversation. You told me
No,
wait.
I'm just saying, what
I'll
is
let
it that
you
you were
have
going to say?
We was talking about confrontational fear, and then you went into the beliefs and said the energy, which meaning that just the ways people are, the way that you move in your energy and frequencies. So you changed the wording and you stayed on that because that's what you believe. So then when I went into what I go and my not theories, I go on my facts and origins, and I go biblical. You seem to get a little difficult with that.
All I'm
So
saying,
I'll let you. It's your show, and I'll let you down that.
all I'm saying, right, is that you were saying that the Hebrew Israelites don't feel that way. I'm saying that men want to be treated the same way that white men feel like they're men.
Mm-hmm.
Black men want to feel like they're men.
Not all black men want to feel like that. Because
so the Hebrew Israelites don't want to feel like they're men?
So if you let me explain, I can explain to you. So
that's why I was asking you to clarify, but you were still
right.
Going off on something else.
So respectfully, how Israelites don't see it, how Israel is waiting for go out and preach the good news that the prophecies are being fulfilled. Obey the laws. Don't lie, no sexual misconduct. Love your neighbor, which in yourself, and then do not abhor your neighbor. You know what I'm saying? Which meaning the white man, which we consider came out. You know what I'm saying, from the rule. So that's how Israel. We look at the laws, and that's how it's supposed to go. Period.
Ken.
Yes.
Do you want to be treated like a man?
Listen, if I obey the laws, I'm going to be treated like a man from the Most High first.
Do you want the same rights or more rights as the
No,
white man?
I don't want the rights of them. No, I don't. No, I don't need their rights. If I'm rendering what their laws are, that means I give it to them, their 8 hours, and then I'm supposed to render on to God. The Bible says render on to Caesar, what is Caesar. And when he tells me, he says repent. If I lie about something, repent. If I got a thought, repent. And it makes me understand to treat my wife. And she don't submit unto me. She submit unto God. And she would submit unto a man. He's supposed to be a holy man. And he's supposed to be able to teach the people how not to be. And one thing that we deal with, them jungle brothers and sisters, and in some of the Israelites, not everybody, because the law is what is perfect and makes you whole. It's not me, period. But it is just show respectfully. And so when I say conspiracy theories, because you have to prove all things. So if you ask me,
I've given references. And anything that I've looked up, you can actually pretty much not there's some things like the zones and stuff in the past. There are some things that are speculating or that I got from vision, but if you look them up, they'll line up with the technology and things there. But most of the things that I've discussed are already prevalent in our society at play. And what I was talking about is the fact that men have been put into a position of female submission. And the reason why is due to the same reasons that women are looking at men wanting equality are
but
economics.
Why? But
see,
why,
now you
I'm
stop
you why,
me each time I try to make this point.
But I'm asking the question like
I'm
why?
answering you right now. Okay.
Okay.
It's economics. Okay. It's the right to be able to rearrange things and be entrusted
Who did it to us?
To be able to change things, okay, to be able to be in an adult or parental role, okay, to be in a role of freedom, to be able to make change and create, versus having to ask somebody every time you go to make moves and not having any resources and being treated like a child. So by way of financial submission, because most of the men in society are not the 1% that have all that kind of buku money. And then even if they do have a percentage of money, there's a lot of, you know what I'm saying?
Can I ask you a question?
What?
When a black baby is born, does he have the same equal opportunity as the rest of the nation of people? Let's say right here in Waterbury, if that black baby is born in a poverty situation, does he have a chance? What is his chances on a scale of 1 to 3? Does he have a chance of making it?
3.
To be successful?
3.
Will he make it?
I just told you his chance is 3. You said, does he have a chance? It's perfect. It's divine.
So that baby, the 3 black babies born from the projects. From the projects now.
Oh, now it's in the projects. Not just
in Waterbury.
Okay, now
Because
it's
you talking about, I
Waterbury
said
in the
poverty.
those odds are
All right.
messed up. Boy.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah, let's go messed up.
all
But we
right.
want to go right in the
He's
hood
in the
because
projects in Waterbury.
most of the people on Facebook is from the projects of the hood.
Well, you're here. You were from the projects in New York, so here we
Well, what
go.
I'm saying,
So
I'm still in a problem.
on a scale of 3, what
The
does
poverty
he have a
line we're
chance
talking
to
about.
make it?
Yes, does he have a chance to make
Yes,
it?
he does.
Okay, I would.
If he
disagree with that
chooses a
heavily.
poverty mindset, that's
Because
his
why?
own.
Let's look at.
You're
let's look-
talking over top of me, dear.
Okay.
We can disagree, and we can agree to disagree.
Okay.
If he chooses a
If he-
poverty mindset,
A baby.
I didn't say. No, you said a black boy.
I said a baby being born.
What's the age span that he's in?
A baby being born to be successful from 1 to 18. His success rate, because we got
He
to
is 3.
see he's gonna make it.
He has a chance. You asked if he had a chance,
Yes.
right? It's 3.
Amongst all an Asian, another one growing up in the
Yes.
and okay.
Okay, see, now
right.
this is the way that I justify that statement, because you're looking at me like baffled, right? It's perspective. It's state of mind, okay? Now,
Yes.
if an African who doesn't have a toilet and is barely finding food can come up with electrical parts that they found in a garbage can to make a gizmo to keep their mama's medicine cool
Yeah, but you make
and make free energy because of their frame of mind, because of what they're exposed to. Now,
In the hood?
excuse me, there's people from the hood here in America who make something of themselves. They become many different things because of their state of mind. Yes, that's what I'm talking about, because that's the way perception works. Your mind has you fixated on one sense of dynamics from your perspective, which is needed for people like you. And even from that perspective, you've made great leaps and bounds. Am I right? From that perspective, in that social diaspora that you gave, you made leaps and bounds. Am I right? Okay, because even your friends and stuff look up to you. One I'm not going to mention right now just got out, right?
Right.
Okay, so you made leaps and bounds from people like you, from your perspective. However, there's other people. It's only wisdom to know. There's other people who came from that same space. Wait. It doesn't say anything about you personally. That's where the ego comes in. That's a spiritual thing right there, ready to jump up. There's people who came from that same thing that did a lot freaking more. And so that's why I say it's a 3, because it's a matter of perception and the tools that one allows themselves to use or that they're exposed to. It doesn't matter where you came from. What matters is the tools that you allow yourself to use. Okay? That's my perspective, and why I've been able to jump out of a series of holes and pits and still climbing out and aware of that. There's always different plateaus. It's just perspective. And so I say that men have been placed into a position of female submission due to lack of resources, even in regards to perspective and being able to allow higher realms of perspective come in from their own community, because we were taught to shoot them down, and that's premanistic and animal behavior. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about when I say as above, so below, where they have us attuned to the lower parts of ourself.
Yeah, but that
like hyenas and stuff,
right, so
cackling at each other.
Now you've been going on for at least a while.
All right. I'm off the box, man.
Yeah, you off the bus because
I'm off the box.
You're putting the
I
head.
still got soap.
You're putting the body before the head.
Cleaning the house.
You can't control those emotions, right?
I'm a little poetic.
Yeah, but when you were talking, I had to respect you. I couldn't
I'm
do
respecting.
that because you were saying, wait, you was giving me signs.
Don't be mad because I'm like Mr. Clean.
See, ego.
Yeah. In a positive direction.
And so your ego is in a positive direction when you want to be.
We're back to the male and female roles, so it's okay for men to
who
flex
said roles? We
and
talking
feel
about
happy.
It was never about role.
I'm just being myself.
And that's a taught behavior.
Did you have a point to make, or did you want to correct me again, dear?
Wow.
That's all I'm saying.
So the audience is listening, and it was never about that. It never about no roles or nothing. It was about behavior.
Okay.
Behavior.
You're
No
telling me how to
ginger.
behave.
No, not at all. I'm saying the behavior when we're in an audience listening, the behavior anybody can say is like this behavior is how we are. So we're together and so I allowed you to speak. Or
You
not
allowed
allowed.
me to speak.
Now let's
See, that's
listen.
what I'm saying.
Did you? Are you
I
allowing me to
see
speak?
their whole
Jennifer?
card, but I
Huh?
adapt. I'm adapting
Did that
under
word?
the circumstances.
So you take one word, allow, one word,
Where
and
you
mess the whole
going?
frequency. Okay. So, boy, I almost got off. So
See?
when I said, oh, I got it. So the information, right, that you have displayed, right, that I listened to, and I did give you emotion because I almost forgot the concept, but the spirit was allowed. You have modern day information, and the information modern day definitely does not come from the ancestors. If you do the origins of that, you go back like DNA. Wasn't using no DNA. That was a no Renaissance in this Renaissance era, and we learned in school, which meaning from the beginning, a new beginning of his story, respectfully, and everything I'm saying is gonna be respectfully, but I love to deal with the origins because we like to go with this new Darwinism theory because this whole theory is reptilian and all these other mixtures of different things. Anytime you take anything from anything and put it with what your creator has made, a human is a human and an animal. It's like the air is the air. We can't be fucking air until we ascend, and no one has ever came back to tell us what's really going on. So we go with some of the hardest facts as much as we can. And we know that we can go back from my grandfather, your grandmother, right? And so now this feminine thing came in. So let's do the women, black women do the origin. When the feminine was moving on, did my mother, your mothers are between that. When that feminine come, was it for her? Hell fucking no.
Before you go into the feminism thing,
But
can I answer the modern day thing you
no,
said?
well, let me get into that. Hold that right there, because I only been like for a good 30 seconds. That seemed long enough. So, with the modern day technology, we wasn't doing this. People, when Doctor, what is his name, Phil came in, a lot of cats was under him, didn't know nothing, and when Netta and everybody came on the scene, Red Pill, and I was like 2009, as far as I was going back, and I'm looking, I'm new, I'm like, oh wow, going back in the undergrad, saying this is new, wow, Black Power, and it was all bullshit because it was sexual misconduct going on, and it was learning a renaissance of theory going on to just nothing but greed. It was all seven that he says going there, but it was amazing to learn and going back to John H. Clark. But anyway, that's new because it didn't work. If it was a law thing, it was certain things that you couldn't do because you're still exploiting modernly. You understand what I'm saying? Because everything has to have a law. Like we got a law. Let somebody come to that door and walk in. We'd be like, what the hell are you doing in here? That is a law. And respectfully. Because you can't go nowhere. And all these new theory, new modernized things, it's a new thing that's going on right now. Go back to the beginning. When you get something, where did that come from? Who? Okay. Why did it come? Before you come out to my, yeah, this is it. Because the other people are looking at us like, they don't really know what's going on. And when we go to other countries, or we get the chance to go, we'll have a whole new perspective before we start running our mouth. Yeah.
Okay, so you're supposed to have a whole new perspective, but you can't involve any modern day thoughts. That's conflicting, first of all.
Yeah.
But anyway, you said modern day.
The audience is definitely listening, though.
You said modern day thoughts, right? And what I'm saying is that, and you want to use a lot of biblical references, and what baffles me, right, about that line of thinking is that what you guys are getting from out of the books is secondhand. But you say that listening to the ancestral voices, my inner voice, or the voices of our ancestors speaking, or even the Creator speaking, is a bad thing, and that's modern day. That's not acceptable. But it's okay to get it secondhand from a long time ago from down the telephone line. So I don't see how that makes any sense at all to me. So part of the trust, like if it came from us in the first place, if it's going to come back, that means that it's going to come back from within us. It's going to awaken from within us. And I just happen to believe and be experiencing that we're in a time of awakening. You know what I'm saying? Where the divine feminine, those voices of the ancients and how our creator spoke to us are realigning, and those live wires are coming back again. So I'm just not in agreement and in alignment with many of the things that you say. I don't believe that even if you add in the Apocrypha with the Bible, that those are the only spiritual books or the only books that people should go by. And the reason is, I think that that's logically, okay, and spiritually doesn't line up for me, because I see other spiritual books. Where's the book of Thor? If I'm reading that they changed the God that was androgynous, that included the divine feminine in with the male concept that we're seeing right now, that the men have been dragged into. So the men have been dragged in a position of female submission, because your freaking female principle is not even in existence, because you've been indoctrinated to a Eurocentric male.
Something like that here.
Even in Africa, the men, in a lot of places in Africa, the men are
the men rule and dominate with a sword. Are you kidding me?
That's what I'm saying.
And what I'm saying is,
where's the
women
female principle?
But what I'm saying to you is, in every other
the females
country,
are off.
This is the only country that men are bocce boys at a high level. Not this is the system. When you go to the schools now, you see the boy with gouges.
We got too much male principle and not enough female. I was talking about aligning things up, and why I felt like that was off. That I didn't. Why I didn't agree. Okay, and the reason why I didn't agree. I have the right to say that our ancient past was stolen. And so when we put the pieces back together again, it's only like a faith, like, okay, that's my boy kind of thing, or I'm going to trust the system. Whether you're Islam or whether you're Christian, it all came from us to begin with. The stuff that we're rejecting, that we don't want to admit to, that those churches don't want to pay attention to, came from us.
But
was modified.
But what I'm saying to you, you're on the late bandwagon. That's already established.
How am I on a late bandwagon? Wait, when you said I had modern thought, and that paying attention, because it needs to be addressed, that paying attention to my ancestral self and the ancestral voice and my feminine self, part of myself, you said was that I was off by doing that.
Okay.
It's not.
Sure. Well,
that's not modern thinking.
If you go back to I'm going back to all.
That's our ancient self.
And the origins that I have is about 3,000 years worth of information from 3,000 years to all the way now, and 1,500 years now, from the Renaissance era. You understand what I'm saying? To now, we know facts. I can go back from there with a proven fact about anything. I can come with the facts and the origins of a black man, regardless of who likes it, and the popes that now we're looking at in the Renaissance era. The black man, Messiah Yahshua, that walked the earth, black man, in Revelation of 1, feet of brass, you know what I'm saying, hair bronze, skin of bronze, feet as though they burnt in the furnace. That particular Messiah that I'm talking about, that we read about in Matthew, John, and Luke, that everybody's talking about as a black man.
Before it was morphed into that.
But what I'm saying to you, black people need to stay within the reams of what they know.
Why? To a white when the Eurocentric, the Council of Nicaea, when they
finish though?
Why are we changing? Yes, but let me say this: why are we changing and morphing ourselves into a time when they changed the books, picked the books, and then left? You even know they left out books, and you add the Apocrypha,
because that's right now.
We're gonna add these books, and it's okay now.
Let's get some understanding. Is it better to know for a fact who you are, and it fits if you putting the pieces to the puzzle? Because if you what you're talking about that you might don't like is Egyptology. If you're giving a different nation of people at the particular time,
it started in Kemet. It's not even Egyptology.
Kemet is Egyptology in the books. I can look it up now. Egypt on the record is Egyptology.
It was actually a morph and how things started to change over
if
time.
You want to play the semantics, as you say,
it's
semantics.
not semantics. It's an era. It's a time when things were more, just like now is an era.
Africa's an era.
It's okay. It's like the telephone game. There's a time when we were more whole, when food was more. Do you remember what tasty we tasted like, kind of thing? No, see, that's where a perception and understanding comes in. You can simplify things and be missing holes, and it'd be like Swiss cheese, or you can over accentuate and you can't find your way because you added too much information. I'm thinking I'm somewhere in between.
What's going on with us?
Can I finish making my point?
Yeah, you can, but before you go, our information should, even if it's wrong, it should come from us. Identify what's going on. Once we go beyond a certain point, it's very delicate. You can speculate and theorize, but the facts are there was a man that walked this earth that was healing. That a lot of the majority of people is, some believe in this and the third. The facts could be proven, and people get mad at facts, and that's just where it's at. So it's respectful in what you say. It still fits in all your information that you get. It's either a theory or it's in some kind of, in what you believe. But it's Egyptology, anything coming from that area, whatever you want to call it. Kemet is Egypt. Napoleon ran. It was the Israelites first that educated the Africans, so-called Africans, which name is not even African.
Still a Morris.
However, that word Morris. Educate the people on words that you use, because people might not be educated. The views can go everything. It's not an ego, informational time, but it's getting past that now, because some people mind you're not going to change it.
Okay, well, the point that I'm trying to make is that there was a time when things originated from one civilization and not morphed into all these different interpretations. You're cutting me off.
I don't know what morph is.
Oh, though. Okay. A morph is when one thing changes. Okay, it's how
like a cocoon.
A bird. Say that there was a cocoon. Say there was a bird. Okay, an egg. The cocoon is an egg, and that egg could be on multiple different birds. Right now, it's just in a shell. Right, it's in an egg. Now the morph would be when it comes out. It's a bird, but it's all these different types of birds that come out of this egg. Okay? That's a morph.
Where's that proving that?
Can I finish?
Yes.
So, we had spirituality at one time as a culture, and it was predominant. It was just something that we did, that we were, right? And then as we spread out, like the telephone game, we morphed into all these other interpretations, and that's why. It's actually what happened.
What's case study at? It's not proven, Regina.
Oh gosh, I got to get my books out and stuff like that.
Well,
from upstairs. I actually did these studies. You can watch these on Regina's Rabbit Hole on YouTube, because I already actually did these lectures. Brought out the books and everything, and eras, showed pictures, yada yada.
They do that though.
Okay.
The greatest hoax.
All right. You can say whatever you like, but I've shown what I interpret as my own personal truth. Mm-hmm. And what I'm saying is, it's like the telephone game. It's morphed. The truth is morphed. And what was you calling Egyptology, was actually Kemet. And before that, all was Asia, all was Africa. Okay? All was Islam, all was Moorish, right?
Right.
Okay, so now we have Christianity, we have Islam, we have Hindu, and these were still an interpretation of a concept that a people lived by that was so awesome, that the other cultures, when they changed and we grew, they indoctrinated.
We're this right here.
They took certain bits and pieces, like Swiss cheese.
Yeah. That's what's going to be pretty soon, yeah.
And whether it was minimizing or maximizing on something.
Swiss cheese here. All that shit is at the end. Toxic water, air, everything we breathe.
They still use it to benefit whatever it was that they wanted in their culture.
We are out of our mind, especially us. We don't buy from one another. We hate
It's
one
a
another.
lack of information is a lack of currency.
We have information now. We're worse off now.
And
We're
that's
the worst
why
now.
I say that also, that men have been placed into a
Your whole
position of
attack is
female
men.
submission.
But your whole attack has been on men. The
You
viewers
guys
listening.
need to let in the currency.
What about women, though?
And
Anything
the
about
other
women, though?
information.
I'm not trying to bash, but I always say men ain't doing what they're supposed to. But you never say what women are doing.
I just did.
No.
I'm taking part in doing what I need to do
Very
as a
tiny.
woman.
Not as you.
No,
as a
I'm
whole.
dealing with the male principle. Under these
what about the woman
circumstances,
principle, though,
you
Regina?
have to watch your step. You got
The
to
last 50
consider the
years.
way you're looked at by others.
Women are
most
soaring.
of all have to consider the way you looked at by the Creator.
We're not talking about that, Virginia. You're alluding right now.
I am talking. No, I'm not. And it seems like you're baiting me an awful
How
lot.
I'm baiting? You've
The
been
male
bashing men.
principle
I'm
is
saying.
out of line.
Okay.
And no, I haven't been bashing men. I've just been being myself.
Listen.
I'm not bashing men. Speaking up for myself.
Well, it's
or
not about
saying
your
my
social.
own.
Be about that. It's not yourself. It's
Telling my own
information.
interpretation is not bashing.
If you want to get the audience,
Making a correction is not bashing.
All right.
You know, and being here on the front line,
Fear.
as
Okay.
far as being a woman and holding fast to the female principle,
But you have
and
to
realizing
know.
the way that things work, that and being as honest and sincere and as loving as I can in this
But
situation.
That's not love, though.
Yes, it is.
If you're not doing everybody at home, everybody
And
accountable
and it's
for it.
my and I have
But
been.
you're not, though.
I understand, why are you so upset?
I'm not
What's
upset
going
at
on with
all.
you?
Not at all. I like to deal with truth. And as the black man, definitely, he is the beginning of all this right here.
Excuse me, but the truth is that there's
But you
many
just cut me off,
interpretations.
though. I just got to state
You're
the
just
point
because
of males
what I'm saying.
are held accountable first. That's all I said.
Okay.
And you got real. You didn't want to hear that. It's true.
Males are held accountable
Right,
first.
and so if they are now, women are put in charge the last 50 years, now the last 25 exclusively, which meaning they are paying their own rent, they are single mothers raising them, our kids are getting shot down. It's real tough now. And the men, can I finish, please? And so those particular men, the last 25 men, those of our men are tomorrow. And they're thinking about being aggressive. They don't want to be. They want to protect, or so to think. Most other nations of men, Arabs, Caucasians, Palestinian, those men will die for their families. Black men will not die for their family. Because as soon as one of our boys get cut down, you see the women get up there with their chest out and say, we forgive them. They're not forgiving nothing. And this is the state of our condition now.
That's a matter of perception.
No,
because,
that's a fact.
Excuse me. I watch videos. You can go on people's things worldwide on YouTube if you invite other nations in.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about here, Regina.
And I can see them getting chopped down and them going through hell and stuff within their environment too. It's a matter of excuse me. It's a matter of perception. Here is a whole different setup. They have people set up economically where it looks like they're always the ones in charge or up front, but they better stay in line and play their position.
Chandra Bland,
as far
all
as
their
the
mothers, all those
gatekeepers
are
within
women,
our
Regina.
society.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about right now, and you seem to don't like that. You're shaking your head, but I'm saying this is what's going. This is not, and we go around that and talk about this right here. No, where are those men? Are those particular which are either
Like
dead
I
in
said,
jail?
it's economy, and
Now
that's
you're
why.
saying okay.
That's why I say that men. This is Regina's rabbit hole. This is Siren Buddha medicine.
Yeah.
Siren Buddha Safa medicine. Men have been placed in a position of female submission due to lack of resources, whether it's knowledge, whether it's finances, and figuring out how things work. Mm. They have to let in the female principle and have that balance and who owns these businesses? If
but
the
last
principle
is not in though.
Can I?
I'm trying to get the understanding. When
I'm
you say
trying to
that.
make it, but I can't if you keep interrupting me and you're getting hostile.
I'm not. I'm asking.
Your dander is up, and it's
understand.
breaking like these waves into the
That's the
conversation
same
for
thing.
what?
When I go to the job, they do the same
All right,
thing.
see, these are tactics, right?
Okay.
I needed to make my point.
Right.
And that is the last 50 years that you were talking about that women are working and in charge and stuff like
I said
that.
25.
You said 50. But we could do 25 even.
They take that.
We can do that later. Who owns these businesses? Men. It's not the women.
The European
The
men
women
own, we
were
don't
still.
Own, black women don't own it.
Excuse
we don't
me.
hire, Regina. You asked me a question.
Okay. Women have still been fighting to get equal pay with men. And women there are a lot of single mothers. So women that are raising these men out here that need things when they're coming up, that could be involved in programs or have access to other men where they can't, because they can't even get out of their communities because the women don't have enough money to be able to bring their family up to a status where she can afford her son more opportunities. So that's one thing that's happening to black men. So it's economic. So if she's kept in a position where she's under him financially and it's already broke down financially and they're holding him down under it, if she's under him, how is the woman empowered? And who owns these companies? It's predominantly white men, the Eurocentric or foreigners owning these companies. A lot of companies went overseas. So we know economically America's been in a whole different kind of situation.
Do the black woman know that?
That's beside the point. I'm
asked
answering
you
I'm just, before I go on to answer that, probably not.
She don't know that.
Most likely no.
But she's educated.
Educated as far as how to get by within this culture, not within the whole canopy that I'm going into, some macro
that's not
dynamics.
Basic,
I'm showing a wide spectrum of what's going on.
That's what's been taught
to answer this question. That's what we need.
I just asked a basic question.
That's information. That's what info does.
So she has the information.
You can do a lot with that. We can do a lot with that.
To go to 4 years of school to get their degree. But she don't know that she's oppressed. She don't realize she'll never go that far. The pay is equal. If the black man and the black woman go together and that job going, he's not going to get paid more. If I get paid $44,000 and I have the same credential because I'm a black male, I'm not going to get more. But if I'm a black woman with the same degree, a white woman, she can get paid a little bit more and move and soar up the ladder.
Those are even more dynamics in the rabbit hole. That a black man is getting paid less than a white woman within the same diaspora.
Well, absolutely. So and she's more privileged to move further.
A black woman is just looking probably.
No, she's not.
Wait. I'm trying to be fair here, or attempt to. I would think that most black women are attempting to say, I want equal pay, not realizing that you're still underneath the white woman's pay, or you're saying you are, and the instances of human services field.
Well, they have a sliding scale. When you go into a field, it's a sliding scale. When you go to upper management, they'll pay to go to more than $5,000 to $60,000. That law of she get paid, no, that's upper management. But when the lower level, it's all right there. Base, they tell you don't discuss your pay or your raise, but it's all the same thing. That's a myth. I work in the field.
There you go. That's lower level. Absolutely. And even when you get to the top tier is what I
And not only that, it's a plot within that.
Speaking more lawyers and doctors and teachers and things like that.
Up there. Well, we're not there. And if you are, you're trained a certain way. And if they even think that you're not that way, they immediately cut you off and push you out. And they have ways and they're designed to deal. And I know because I deal with it firsthand.
That's still economics. And that's a frequency. This whole system is meant to keep people into a state of mind where your whole frequency, you know what I'm saying, is kept at alert. You guys are stuck at 9/11.
So when you doing the comparison, it's actually almost offensive. A couple of brothers that lived a certain kind of life, like how everybody know about a life that we live. So we don't want to be reminded of that. So when we put in there, and you might not be as quick or whatever, but you're strong. You're always going to be strong in the area because you won't be on the team, right? So you bring that energy you talked about in the frequency, and when you there, you have to come out of whatever bag you in. Whatever, if you shoot or whatever you are, you have to come in and you have to be part of that and be ready to
shout out to New York.
Well, yeah.
You get concrete jungle.
Yeah, and so you'll get discouraged. I don't care how smart you could be broken down. And so for us as a people, it seems like that's what happens to us, but we still rise. In the midst of everything, we still remember the Grinch that stole Christmas when we was little, and he stole everything. He said, not even a crumb of cheese. And when he looked down, he had everything. And he took the last crumb, but when they were holding hands, what was they doing? They were smiling and still singing. And when he seen it, he rejoiced, and then he put everything back. Yeah. It seems like
a real lady or a survivor recognizes this, right? The alpha male that it takes to be able to survive in this world. all that stuff that you explained, and coming from that environment where it's dog eats dog. And, when you're a lady, you know what I'm saying? You need that type of male. That's what you're looking for, somebody who can bring home the wolf.
Or you don't want
Or
it
you're not going to eat.
And I agree with you.
Unless you're the woman that can put the pants on and go and get your own.
Yeah.
And go out and eat. And that's the disposition that a lot of women
I
have been forced. Your mother included.
Yes.
Okay, was a single mom. We're put in a position, forced to go do it. Mm-hmm. And although, they equate us to, lionesses the ones who go and do the hunting, and the male kind of sits back. He don't go and do nothing unless it's the heavy hitter. We're not animals. We're women. Yeah. And we truly, the viciousness that some women feel for the other women that stayed at home. Okay? And then you have to deal with the social dynamics of getting older and how men are on some trip where, you don't have fresh punani? I'm the lion and I can get a cub, or you know what I'm saying? Or I can go get me
Isn't that sexual misbehavior though?
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, but that's the primitive space that they have us in, instead of looking at ourselves like a human being that with the woman brings wisdom and culture and class and integrity and lessons, and she is more valuable and refined and with season. You want seasoning on your food. You don't want no bland food. What happens in a movie when she just lays there? Man, it's fresh, but once you mush it up, what? So that's what I'm saying. I'm using these. Yes, go ahead.
Can a gardener who never gardened before have a beautiful, fresh garden the first time?
No.
Mm-hmm. So
not likely.
Well, wait a minute, baby, because now we getting ready. That's a theory right there. It's getting ready to be a theory, and that's what happens.
There is a loophole. If they watch YouTube diligently and bought all their supplies, it's possible that they're going to have a great garden. It is possible, but not likely.
Not likely. But
it takes experience to get in there. It takes
experience. Mm-hmm. If he do it 100 times that, what kind of garden would he have? A beautiful, he would know and teach, fresh garden.
And that's a refined woman.
So, right?
But they make us think.
You see how?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Now, when you look at us as a people, right? Right. Knowing you the gifted, not going against anybody, you see things happening. And we don't even give it a chance because we're too much confusion going on. You see, all you gotta do is stop. That never came up in years. All you have to do is just stop.
The gold ribbon.
And the confusion and the distraction of the simple things. If you know you're dealing with sexual misconduct, then cut it out. Today I'm not doing it. Oh, bad energy, frequency is out the door. You can say whatever. You will be there 5 hours, 3 months, 10 years. Sexual misconduct. It's no good. It does not work. It's not natural. So you ain't dealing with that, so you're off the rack. And if you got a history of it, you can say what you want. You're a hypocrite. You're a liar. So you're in vanity.
Yeah, that's egotistical because a lot of men don't start talking about sexual misconduct.
I'm talking about everybody
until their thing gets ready to fall off.
That's not true at all.
That's not. Yes, it is.
It doesn't. That is not true. You have many men bid up 70 years old. It don't stop until you die in the nursing home. That's a fact. And it doesn't take, because even when babies they rub, they play. That's through history. That's why you have to that's what a woman thinks until it fall off in a wrinkle and drops.
I mean, it's still working, but they can't get to it because they're in the wheelchair. They got to roll to it.
Nah.
They hooked up to a.
It's a mind.
They hooked up to an IV.
You know what? It doesn't cost nothing to manipulate, because if you look at the energies and the deities, it doesn't take so much to commit that. You deal with it. You know what I'm saying? If you in your 50s.
When are you men going to start teaching each other about wasting your kundalini energy, your sexual energy all over the place?
If you do the origin of it, right, it's a European-centric introduction. That's a fact. The Kundalini, it comes from the Egyptology, from the fact if you do the origins it goes right back into them in the Renaissance era, not a Kundalini energy. Before that, what it was.
So it's okay to just be going out and spill your semen all over the place as long as you're married, right?
Not at all. I mean, it goes. If two from the beginning never had the chance of the misconduct, then the misconduct continued to go on, not as a manipulative factor, because the human mind loves to play manipulation. Oh, this, oh, that, to convenience a situation, to have a euphoria, to have a high, natural or unnatural.
Desire,
Buddha
lust,
medicine.
gluttony, foods, eating
Reduce rabbit
foods.
hole.
Much love to you and yours.
Right.
It's all sexual.
When
We're
it
just talking
changed,
about
no, that's
it
one.
is.
The
That's
reasons
one.
behind
No,
why
It
I
is.
like to
If
do
Your
you're
that.
eating
mouth,
like this right here,
excuse
it's not
me,
sexual.
scientifically, your mouth is an orifice.
Nah.
And yes.
That's theory, conspiracy.
Yeah, it wants to eat.
That
Vibrational
other one, that's what I'm
frequency.
saying.
All right, this is
Yeah.
we're done. This is Regina's rabbit
They
hole.
come in here. They come with the conspiracy.
This is
theory.
Regina's rabbit hole.
Yeah,
this is
so-
Silent Buddha
This is
medicine.
long enough. You
That's
will
all I'm
believe
saying.
It becomes animated and Woody Woodpeckers.
You know what?
And
That's where you get it. The
really
senses are
and
orifices, and that's where we
like
eat
love
from.
and
Whether
other
you're
things.
hearing it,
Fruit or
eating
thing.
it,
I can make
you're
it a
absorbing
bunch
it.
of different
Much love to you and yours.
biblical or
This was
your
Speaking
own
with
beliefs,
Wisdom
then,
and Talk
an
Therapy.
action
We're
or
out.
the world
Much
is
love to you and
used.
yours.
So, confrontational fear, I think everybody deals with. That's a subconscious view, like when someone speaks on something that strengthens them or they give help to, but not really addressing a more, perhaps more needed issue. It would seem like that, and I think a lot of that behavior comes from a narcissistic approach.
Well, one thing that I see about fear and how it's on a mass level is the